Welcome back to the Bepic and Final Four $60 Monday Night Lights tournament, where we have had an insane night, and we've only seen the first round of competition. Seeds 5, 6, 7, and 8 are the four teams competing in the semifinals. Dronis, you've competed, so you're well aware of the results tonight. First of all, how did your series go?
Well, yeah, long story short, Oregon State played Siena Heights in the first round. One of the starters for Oregon State couldn't be there, and the substitute couldn't be there. So as the manager, I stepped in and played in their match with them. We did get swept. It did not go well. Siena Heights, obviously a very solid team. I was playing terrible because I'm just a caster. And yeah, one of our players was having disconnect issues. But it was still a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see how Siena Heights are able to move forward in the next semifinal. But right now, George Mason, Rochester, this should be a big matchup.
Yeah, it should. I'm not gonna bank on any expected result anymore tonight. So I'm just gonna get into this thing and see what happens. George Mason, I had seeded as the 8th team coming into tonight. I thought they were the worst. I went based on Summer Series qualifier results, and every team either qualified for Summer Series or played in both qualifiers. So George Mason had the worst results out of the entire field. I was like, all right, I'm gonna seed them 8. And they've already upset Colorado, and they're scoring first against Rochester Christian, who was a series off of qualifying in both qualifiers. Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, they were so close. George Mason, I mean, they have been unexpectedly hot tonight. I mean, taking down Colorado is a pretty huge feat. To do it under the pressure they were as well is absolutely huge. They got it done over on Sleeper Stream, and now we'll just see how far they can take it, but they have a pretty solid opponent in RCU.
They do. I've watched a lot of RCU. I was out of the country for the second qualifier, but in the first qualifier, when I did my watch party, RCU was streaming. Thank you very much, Magic, for streaming that. And so I got to tune in, got to raid Magic after I had to leave, and they were one series away from qualifying in that one. And then made it to the same stage in the second qualifier. They've looked solid. Magic, after transferring from Cumberland, joined Skies and Luca, who I already knew were great players from my Melon Patch League days. And they have looked super good so far. Not enough to make it into Summer Series, unfortunately, but Dronis is a team that I think could make waves in the fall semester coming up, and they're starting off here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I believe they were, they're one series off. I believe they were also one game off.
Was
that
game
was in
5?
I think it was lower bracket final, and they played Akron Gold, and I think it went all the way to game 5. They weren't quite able to pick up the win, but yeah, expecting them coming fall, they're gonna try and come back with a vengeance. We'll see what they're able to do in due time, but a very solid squad. Obviously, just making it to that point, getting so close to qualifying for Summer Series, especially in the East, which is definitely the powerhouse region.
Yeah, it is stacked. And I mean, both West teams out already tonight, and there were only 2. One of them, unfortunately, was a sub, as a reminder. But Colorado losing in round 1 is astounding. I thought they would be able to go on a run here for qualifying for Summer Series, winning the CCS, and just looking overall solid in recent times. But it's a crazy night, and George Mason, the underdogs even in this series, holding on to their 1 goal lead off the back of some solid defense that has finally dissipated. Luca opening up the scoring for RCU.
Yeah, just chucking that downfield. Magic actually tried to get a pre-flip redirect. That ended up faking out Dev on the goal line. Couldn't quite reach it, so we're all tied up at 1.
And good call, Fuge. UTA is West. They are also eliminated. I still think Texas is East in my mind just because of the SCL, but that's right. They are West and they are eliminated. And all right, I'll stop talking about the bracket here as we've mentioned the chaos enough. I'm expecting it to continue though. George Mason looking for a response here. Almost got one, but on the goal line, Skies coming with a good touch. Luca, the extension out of the corner, midfield line into the box of George Mason, but as far as RCU will get, then we push back into defense here.
Yeah, it looks like both teams are still kind of just feeling each other out here in game 1. I mean, 2 very solid teams going head to head. You're gonna be weary of one another, seeing a a lot of defensive rotations. None of these teams really getting too aggressive too early. You can see Dev a little bit far back on that infield passing play, wasn't able to reach it. Skies carrying it to the other side for RCU, but still a pretty defensive stance. I'm assuming that's going to change as this series goes on.
Yeah, we'll see if anyone develops into more of an aggressive play style. I wouldn't be surprised as teams might be getting a more confident read on their opponent, but so far, that's just simple Rocket League. Titanium scoring off the back of a demo in the corner of Rochester Christian, and that is a nice go-ahead goal. I don't know how that demo was found.
Yeah, pre-flip somehow catching the tail end of an RCU player, and you know what? Titanium saw the open net and he took it. Why not? George Mason back up by 1, but I mean 80 seconds left. RCU looking to get that offense fired up again, but it's been pretty quiet to start off this series.
They have had production in the offensive zone, but just the 1 goal to show for it at the moment. 5 shots on target is decent, but you're going to need a couple more now, as that is another quick hit on the Rochester Christian side. The clear is found over a pair of orange cars, and Dev, a creative pass to get that ball to Titanium, works out, and it's a 2-goal lead now for George Mason.
Yeah, what a dime that was. You know, obviously it was just a little 3-foot pass, but it was perfectly set onto Titanium's hood and being able to take advantage of that open net, something that, you know, not all teams are able to do. Open net sometimes the greatest enemy of Rocket League players. Now Titanium, big 50 the other way, and Titanium puts up another. He's got a hat trick in game 1.
And these are all just quick transitional plays where George Mason is catching out Rochester Christian at the midfield line. Obviously, that is 50-50, and I don't think Magic is expecting to turn into a goal, hence why the rest of his team wasn't on the goal line to defend it. But either way, George Mason finding relatively simple goals in transition. That continues. Rochester Christian, they can't transition into a more aggressive play style. They're going to have to play more carefully.
Yeah, they really are, and now a little bit of an awkward touchdown from George Mason, but again, don't look too worried. Nice bump coming through. Titanium, even with low boost, finds the 50. RCU may have a good look here. They do have the boost advantage. They have a bit of possession and the pressure, but Titanium able to escape for the team in blue. So again, George Mason just looking to hold on to this 3-goal lead for the final 15.
Magic, nice first touch here. Can collect, but Jay, solid 50-50 on the goal line, is going to officially put this game on ice. Good start for George Mason. As always, I'll mention my love for game 2 because I want to see how Rochester Christian responds. They get a garbage time goal to, maybe make them feel a little bit better going into game 2. I'm not sure, but they do have to play just a touch better at that midfield line should they come back in this series.
I mean, we need to see their defense pick up a little bit, as well as, you know, maybe a couple overextensions through the midfield line, maybe not respecting George Mason quite enough. George Mason, they shot 4 for 7 as a team, which at this level is an incredible bit of shooting. So if they're able to keep up that pace, it's going to be very difficult for RCU. I'm expecting them to kind of clamp down on that midfield line and on defense a little bit more.
It has been a good shooting night so far for the teams on stream. George Mason efficient right there. Shawnee State had a 100% shooting game in their 1-game win of the last series. So far, teams on point, and that's great for George Mason. I honestly did not know what to expect coming from them into tonight, and they've impressed me. The offense is effective, and I'm interested to see if those simple goals will continue to bear fruits going forward, or if our RCU is going to wisen up. But if they can keep getting those easy goals in transition, then we could see them claim a spot in the grand finals.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting. Over on the other side of the bracket, of course, Radford versus Siena Heights after this match, but yeah. George Mason, they're looking to make it there against one of those other two teams. It would be a tough battle either way, but if they keep looking in form like this, they definitely have a shot.
All right, game 2 coming up. George Mason, first game in hand, but you need a whole lot more if you do want to claim a date with someone in the grand finals. One of the two teams waiting on the lower side of the single elimination bracket, As for those that may not be familiar with the MNL format, it is 8 teams, single elimination, best of 7s in the semifinals and grand finals. And you will see that second semifinal on stream after this, making the teams wait just a little bit longer so we can get all the semifinal action on the main stream. That's a creative out for RCU, and they will not be rewarded with a goal. Great save by Jay.
And already we're seeing Rochester try to get on the board early, looking for a little bit more of that offense to get things started. Maybe just want to work with a lead, kind of more of that comfortable spot. But George Mason showing some good resistance. Titanium sends it middle. Magic, free flip touch, trying to work his way out to the midfield line. Titanium there to meet him, but Magic wins it through Jay across to Dev. George Mason still looking very well connected as a unit, looking to capitalize on some mistakes here. Magic just able to get there and time Skies back into the corner.
That midfield line is still a point of weakness for RCU, but that is a nice out ball, just slightly high of being on target. And Rochester Christian finding themselves an opportunity. Magic running interference on the backboard, just walling off Titanium, getting a decent touch on that ball, though it is still a clear found by George Mason. Titanium looking for another one, but Magic again, the bane of his existence, denying access to that orange end of the pitch on the midfield line. So again, George Mason working from their corner, where they're playing well enough not to concede, but not well enough to find an immediate clear.
And I think the nice change we're already seeing from Rochester Christian, they're playing a little bit slower and a little bit more controlled. They're not trying to rush as much, and it opens up easy opportunities like this. Skies bangs this one into the back of the net. Is really just no one able to challenge from George Mason. All kind of low boost, all kind of not quite there in time, so able to take advantage.
It's just a misread from Dev coming off the ground there. Not an easy read, that ball bouncing off the back wall like that, but still a mistake that leads to a punish from RCU, and they are on the board first here into game 2. Haven't had to play a ton of defense in the last minute or so. Field domination actually heftily in their favor, so maybe the last 2 minutes, as RCU 70% of the time played in game 2 so far spent on their offensive side of the ball, and that should continue here with Skies on the rock, but Titanium taking it away, forcing Luca back for a second, play that ball creatively at the midfield line, and Rochester Christian will keep the offensive going.
Yeah, they want to add on a second here. They want that cushion moving into the latter half of this game. Maybe even looking for some sort of a shutout here to kind of swing the momentum back the other way. Magic, high touch up at the midfield now, gonna leave it for a teammate. Dev outpacing Luca back into that corner. Titanium and missile of Skies on it, wants the dunk all the way through, but Jay able to redirect it to the far side. We are seeing George Mason look a little bit awkward on defense as pressure surmounts and Magic snipes the far side.
Titanium gets kind of chipped right there by Skies and then gets caught in between, making a challenge on that ball and rotating back, which leads to just a slightly late rotation as that ball was placed perfectly by Skies right there. Rochester Christian generating so much power on their shots at the moment. Magic going back wall here, but Dev wins that exchange handily. Big clear there for GMU.
And that was actually the first shot we've seen in this game from
Really?
George Mason, was that clear. They have not been really able to break through the midfield line at all. Magic is another look. Dev does shut it down. Luca back to the midfield. Titanium does escape. Dev might have a redirect in line. Tries to drop it down to Jay. Not enough power on the shot. You like to see the idea of that passing play, but unfortunately couldn't quite be executed with low boost.
Hey, you've got to do what you got to do right now if you're George Mason to just break through the midfield line. Like, that is the biggest challenge for them at the moment, let alone putting a quality shot on target. But they have finally broken out and nearly got a quality shot on target. Titanium put it on frame, but Magic was right there to deny access. Now Dev through the corner, setting up Jay for a shot. He'll take a light touch, though. Try to extend possession on the RCU end, put all the pressure on their defense to protect their 2-goal lead heading into the final 60 seconds.
Oh, but Skies not fearful at all, takes it downtown, and Rochester Christian now up 3 goals. Skies just a massive dunk, keeps his momentum going, pre-flip, able to find the finish, makes it look easy, and George Mason, again, that offense just being stifled, and their defense can't back it up either.
I mean, their offense had better chances in the last 30 seconds of that was their best stint of offense this entire game, I'm pretty confident in saying, but just let it slip on the backside. And I can forgive a little bit of aggression being down 2 goals and held scoreless going into the final minute, but they get punished for it. The risk doesn't pay off, and RCU looking very likely to be leveling this series up going into Game 3. They get another pretty decent chance on target here, and it will fall off the post. Never mind, I thought that was going in.
Yeah, they're trying to add on a fourth because why not? Just get a little bit more momentum going into game number 3. But as time ticks down, they look more than in control. There in the driver's seat now here in this series. Dev flip reset might find the finish. No dice. Skies booms it away. That marks the end of game 2.
That's not an easy win for Rochester Christian. They had to work a little bit for their food there at the end, but it's just solid. Just solid all the way through. A very much better game from them. Coming from game 1, where it was a little disjointed at times. They were punished a lot for awkward midfield play. And then here, they dominated the midfield third. Like straight up. It felt like George Mason had to pay hefty tolls just to get access to the offensive zone consistently. And at the end, it was much better. They got a bit more production, but by then it was far too late.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think RCU allowed a shot on target until the back half of that game. And yeah, by then, RCU, they're just so in control. Even if you get a shot on target, you still need to bring in more pressure. You still need to build an offensive attack. You can't just really lay a shot on target from your own back wall. And RCU just so far ahead, so much in control, and they were just able to kind of carry it from there, even though George Mason had a lot better looks kind of in those final 2 minutes. Just wasn't quite enough.
So now that begs the question is, can George Mason replicate their kind of final minute of offense that we saw in game 2, or were they just relying on good midfield play and quick transitions in game 1 to take the first one out from under RCU? And game 3 hopefully will answer some of those questions, but George Mason has to be careful here. They've got to be very careful, because if RCU is another effective offensive game in game 3, then they could easily run away with this best of 7. But you do have that game 1 in hand, fortunately, for George Mason to give you a little bit of wiggle.
Yeah, we need to see how this team is able to adapt, but I mean, that's why we have the best of 7 in the semifinals, to give these teams a little bit more time to kind of get to know each other, to be able to try and build these counterattacks, adapt to one another, and see who's able to come out on top, play a little bit more, play a little bit more smoothly as time goes on. But already seeing George Mason, they're trying to get on the board first.
Hey, great job so far. First 30 seconds, very much in favor of George Mason. Got a couple of looks there on the RCU net, but Rochester Christian playing the smart game at the moment, backing off when they need to. Not allowing those same gaps we saw in game 1. As Luca finds a big save, closes what was a sizable gap there for a second, and it gets RCU out of defense for a moment. George Mason keeping that press on.
Keep it going as Dev does escape into the corner. Skies turns it around from Magic, pops it up over 2. Is there anyone there for a rebound? No. Low on the goal line, Dev does find a 50. Already seeing Rochester Christian getting some better looks here. Magic into the back wall. A little bit awkward for George Mason. It's going to be cleared away. Magic trying to keep it on the offensive side. Luca wants a demo, leaves the ball completely, and the midfield is up for grabs.
The play's not working out at the moment for Rochester Christian. They're going for passing plays that aren't quite connecting, bump plays that aren't quite connecting, but they just score off of a simple couple of beats. They're in the offensive zone. They don't need creative plays right now. Their speed's on point 1-0.
Yeah, Jay just kind of left alone on the backboard with no boost, and the other 2 players left on the ground. I mean, Dev and Titanium, they had boost, but then the needle was threaded beautifully by Skies. Dev looking to get back the other way off the back wall. Skies, that's a tough save, and Titanium punishes. We're all even at 1.
And just like that, George Mason's on the board. Dev just kind of plugged the back wall, forced Skies to play that awkwardly, and the bet kind of paid off. It's an easy finish. George Mason still capitalizing on the easy ones, although that was the first easy one they've gotten in a minute.
Yeah, we've seen Rochester Christian really kind of step up their game, and they are really forcing George Mason to work for basically every single goal they have now. And Luca trying to pick up another for RCU. Skies gonna pop this one up. Dev takes him off the field for it. Titanium trying to start an attack back the other way, but now it's just seeing a little bit of ping pong at the midfield line.
Out of the ping pong, Luca back to play in Rocket League. Air dribble towards the blue net that Titanium got well in the way of. Nice read, and it's an intentional pass. Nice pass as well, as Dev was in position to find a clear, but Magic takes it from him, misses the double. Skies and Luca both went, and George Mason can't get the ball out in time to score the open net. What a strange exchange.
I mean, that was a definition of an all-in attack, and it didn't quite pay off, but they didn't get punished immediately. Now the defense can't hold up, and George Mason take a lead.
Yeah, they didn't get punished immediately, but they were eventually punished. A quick hit from George Mason, back to their roots, at least in this series, as that transition yields fruit. 2-1, GMU finding themselves a lead, but I don't know how safe a one-goal lead is at the moment for either side.
Yeah, I'm expecting both these teams to want some sort of a cushion. Magic flip reset, forces two to miss, and Luca drops it down low, so that lead immediately gone for George Mason. Again, these two teams just keep tying it back up.
Clean reset by Magic. Played that first man position so well. Luca, I mean, he couldn't miss that. I thought he overjumped it, which is why I kind of exclaimed there. But he couldn't miss that one. Nice finish, good setup, all around nice play out of RCU. 2 minutes left. We are tied up at 2 apiece, but George Mason want 3.
This is still a little bit dangerous. Skies does find a redirect into the backboard. Magic chasing it down with 0 boost. Dev lifts it up to Jay, blocked by Luca, but then it's going to fall right into the hands of Titanium. Up to meet him is Magic. He bumps him off. Skies booms it away. RCU still struggling to get more of that possession here after their second goal. George Mason still doing a great job applying pressure. Haven't been able to turn in a third so far. I think this one might come down to the wire here, Bepic.
It is. Final 90 seconds, the business end of Game 3. An important win, I feel like, for both teams, with George Mason trying to get back on the right foot in this series, which, you know, even if they lose this, I think they have. Their offense looks a lot better here, but for RCU, they could gain a lot more momentum going forward if they do claim the series lead here after our third game. But right now, it feels like anyone's game. I feel like both sides have shown that their offenses can kind of explode in moments and steal goals out of unexpected moments.
Oh,
there you go.
A big demo play. I mean, Dev, a demo at the midfield. No one left back. George Mason taking another lead. It was a great attempt from Skies up high, but a quick demo and a quick transition is all it takes to give it back in favor of George Mason.
Nice interception by Jay as well. Skies kind of blew a tire on that flip reset play, and Jay expected it. Was in position, got that quick out. And George Mason, late lead here that they could add on to. Passing play across, read by the RCU defense, and Luca follows it up with a nice crossbar raid. It will get Rochester Christian out of defense, but final 30, they need a goal ASAP.
George Mason might just be looking to play a bit of keep away here in the final 20 seconds. They're trying to keep Rochester Christian locked in their own half, beat one player at a time, maybe looking for a fourth. Dev shot will be saved away by Luca. That gives some time and space to Sky. Off the ceiling, can Jay reach it? No, it can't. Bar down! Skies puts one away with 10 seconds left to go.
And it's just a simple ceiling shot. He's so quick with that. Titanium and Jay both jump up to block, but neither of them get to it before Skies puts it bar, down, and in. What an answer by RCU.
I mean, George Mason, they've been, leading for the majority of this game, but RCU have been with them every step of the way. They keep on equalizing. Titanium lets this one drop in his own corner. We have overtime.
Our first OT of the night, and it still feels like anybody's game here in Game 3 of this best-of-7 semifinal. Magic tries to start off possession on his end, but Dev gives it to George Mason first. Skies can't clear it. Titanium intercepts at the midfield line, but going back and forth. This bout for possession hasn't quite yielded a winner just yet.
Yeah, we are seeing a lot of early challenges, some more pre-jumps as well. Both these teams really trying to limit that possession for either side. Now a little bit earned by George Mason. Jay into the back while Luca will be able to force it away. Skies pre-flips past one, but you're going to see the early challenges. Deb strikes top right. No one home for RCU, and George Mason take game 3.
Magic and Luca both went to the corners to collect boost. Luca had nothing in the tank, so he's trying to collect pads. Magic takes the 100 in the corner, and Dev says, thank you very much. That is a free shooting lane into the back of the RCU net. And George Mason, I question their offense after their lackluster Game 2 performance, and their offense stormed back. 4 goals on 11 shots. Yeah, that is a response and a half, GMU.
Yeah, I mean, their offense looks so much more threatening. It really does look like both these teams are just grappling for pressure, grappling for more of that aggressive play style. I mean, we saw, Rochester Christian have it last game, but this past game, George Mason really looked dominant. Obviously, it was a back and forth tug of war. RCU were with them every step of the way, but George Mason seemed to kind of lead the drive. They led the pace of that game, and they were eventually able to turn one in overtime, but we'll see if they can keep it up heading into Game 4. They have the lead now. They're looking for match point.
This feels like a similar matchup in terms of the play styles that both teams are employing so far in this series, where they're just playing it simple, making sure their rotations stay solid and until gaps emerge in the defenses. So that is pretty creative from RCU, trying a bit of a team pinch there out of the aerospace, but doesn't pan out. The goal line defense of George Mason effective in the first 15 seconds, but is it so here? Magic, flip reset, carry towards that goal line again, but Jay finds a block, finds another touch there on the near side, but no one is back after that. Skies slots it, 1-0 RCU.
I mean, pressure surmounting like this, there's not much you can do. Jay got a nice cut there, but bumped off, leaves an open look for Skies, who really seems to be leading this offense for Rochester Christian.
I mean, Magic looks so good in the first man position right now. His flip reset game has been on point so far. And Skies and Luca, when it comes to finishing touches, have been 5 stars and a chef's kiss. And GMU, pretty similarly. Look at that, Dev! Another perfectly placed missile to get GMU back in this one.
I mean, the long ball threat here. Another shot from the midfield line. Luca just caught out, driving on the back wall with no boost to speak of. We saw Dev place it towards the far post, down low. Really couldn't do anything to reach it, so immediately, again, all equal at 1.
Luca trying to change that is slowed by a full boost Titanium, who gets through Skies as well. Magic is missed. Jay has to get back to this ball or just let Titanium finish the play off. The net was completely open after that incidental bounce right there off of Sky's car, and the rest is history. 2-1 GMU.
Yeah, that we just saw Magic get a little bit aggressive there. Was not expecting that bounce, and of course did get punished by George Mason. But now we'll see how RCU respond. Jay sends it middle. Dev waiting patiently on the far side, trying to break through again off the ceiling. Now going for a bump, leaves it for a Titanium. No one can keep it out, and George Mason have 3.
Okay, Luke gets beaten. Magic is way out of the play, and Skies off the back wall doesn't have a good angle to challenge there. Yeah, Magic was pulled so far out, he really couldn't get up. I don't think he had the boost to either. And so with Skies frozen, it's not an easy finish by George Mason, but a nice gap created by the slight misrotations or lack of boost funds on the RCU side. GMU exploiting every little gap at the moment. Their offense is fun to watch here.
It really is, and I mean, we're only hoping to see that continue, as now if they're able to keep this pace up, they'll be up 3-1 over RCU and a chance for that grand final spot. But we need to see them kind of keep it up, try and, stifle RCU here in game number 4. Magic fires, Dev, nice save, plays it to the far side. Skies gonna send it into the ceiling, but Dev still playing so patient yet so quick, able to read all of these plays, Rochester Christian shuts down so many of them so fast. Magic might find a way through, but Dev, there again off the back wall.
Jay had Titanium down the field, but couldn't exactly get the ball to him, and yet still applies enough pressure to generate a shot for Titanium. They're right out in front of the RCU net, though. RCU do find a stop. That was an easy save for players of their caliber. And in transition, find a demo and find a goal. They aren't out of this quite yet.
I mean, this is just brutal. Magic right up the challenge. Lance keeps his momentum going, and Jay, the blindside demo. Not much you can do there, and flies into the far post side. RCU back within one. So still looking to hunt for that third.
And the audio's being fixed right now. Sorry about that, guys. The caster audio will go out on me sometimes. It's an OBS thing. So we deal with it on Monday Night Lights. Hopefully it should be fixed now as we get into the second half of game number 4. RCU still trying to find a way back, but playing more defense against the GMU offense that has been awakened here in the mid part of this best of 7.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, both these teams, they still look so even to one another, but George Mason, they just seem to get, the better outcomes so far. Now looking to keep it going, looking to maybe get that 2-goal deficit back, a little bit of a cushion. Luca pressuring his way through. Jay a pinch out, bumps comes through on Titanium in net. Jay will be able to escape all the way downfield, maybe just looking to kind of stall this last minute 45.
On that collection, kind of fumbled a little bit, giving some space here to RCU. Nice challenge taken there on the sidewalk in the skies, but either way, couldn't generate a real opportunity out of it. Even though that ball poked out center, still fielded by the GMU defense, and they eventually turned that play into a clear, and RCU backed up to their back wall. Titanium, a pot shot on, the Magic misses, and Jay's there to punish. What just happened?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to watch it back. I don't really know. Titanium just lobbed it up. Magic didn't use any boost. Didn't quite press the button, and it just kind of falls in off the post, and Jay able to tap it in. So George Mason get a bit of a freebie with 80 seconds left to go.
Look, top level Rocket League players are humans too. And you see mistakes like that you would see in mine or Dronus's lobby. It happens. And so it happens at a pretty poor time, actually, for Rochester Christian, because now they're down by 2 going into the final 60 seconds of Game 4. GMU can get within a game of taking a spot in the grand finals here, as they were the 8th seeded team coming into tonight. And if they make grands, I will issue a formal apology to the GMU boys and everyone involved. But still have some work to do yet. Rochester Christian has a bit of offensive agency that they can't do much with. That's a clear for George Mason.
Yeah, we'll see if they're going to be able to do. I mean, they're looking poised to do so right now. They have 30 seconds left to try and take this Game 4, go into Game 5 on match point. Magic lifts this one up, looking to drop it down. Jay cuts it off on the back wall. Trying to play this one out, just limit these opportunities. Luca, pre-flip into the reset. Dev got the early block, force a double go in. Magic shot blocked as well. Titanium looking to escape. Dev plays it slow, plays the 50 out, and that'll mark the end here in game number 4 for RCU.
Oh, he had no boost, but still iced the game perfectly, just by anticipating where his opponents were going to go. And of course, Rochester Christian's going to get another goal on 0 seconds when it doesn't matter. They make it 4-3, but George Mason make it 3-1 in our best of 7, and they are 1 game away from advancing to grands.
I mean, this will be incredible to see if they're able to do it. They just need 1 more now. I mean, they're on pace to do so, looking very, very solid. As again, so efficient on the offensive side. Went 4 for 8 as a team. Also had 8 saves on the defensive side. Each player picking up an assist as well. So some great team play all around from GMU. I mean, they almost look unstoppable here. RCU are keeping it close, but George Mason, they just seem 1 step ahead.
I mean, outside of the game 2, where we started calling into question the quality of George Mason's offense, they've put up 4 goals in each of the games that they have won. So I think the quality is absolutely there. Like you said, they've shot efficiently in 2 of those games. They went 4 for 11 in the other one, but shooting over 50% or at 50% is pretty darn good. George Mason is looking solid at the moment. And Rochester Christian, they have to play better defense. The rotations have not always been solid enough to hold George Mason at bay, and it's been those tiny gaps that have developed because of missed rotations or improper boost management that have burned them in this best of 7. So they got to clean it up, but they've got at least another game to do so. So we'll see what happens in game 5 here.
I mean, the positive note is that, you know, we're only seeing them fall to these little mistakes, and little mistakes you can fix. Those are adjustable. You can lock in, you can fix those little mistakes, and you might find yourselves more of a win. So I think RCU, as you mentioned, play a little bit closer, maybe a little bit more solid as a team. They will be able to shut things down, but I mean, we are seeing George Mason looking very innovative in this matchup, and they're looking tough to stop consistently.
That's a pass out. Magic finding Skies, finding the back wall, drop down, but no Luca in the area. He hung back while his 2 teammates committed aggressively on that counterattack. George Mason keep that ball in the orange end. Dev to collect and pops it for himself. Still finds a little poker towards net. Put the Titanium for a rebound, and an awkward Magic will place the ball to the opposite corner. He was either awkward or just intentionally playing underneath that ball to push it far side.
I mean, I assumed he was going for the redirect towards his own corner, but he didn't use a lick of boost in that aerial, which does worry me a little bit, especially since we saw one play, he had an open save and he ended up missing it because he didn't use any boost. And now way downfield, that's a great block. Dev has an open look. He puts it away, so George Mason break the ice here in game number 5. Titanium, big clear out, and Magic just kind of caught no man's land.
Yep, no boosts. Yeah, no man's land. That's happened so often for Rochester Christian. It feels like we're broken records calling it out, just slightly out of position, slightly out of boost. And George Mason is right there for first blood. Took about 100 seconds, but they take the lead in a potential closeout game for them. Looking to add on to it. Titanium found Dev on the near side, but also found Luca, who gets a clear by way of Skies.
Magic, good beat there. Dev will boom it downfield. Luca waiting patiently on the back wall, clears it back to the other side, trying to get some offense started for RCU. Sees Sky's middle. Jay just driving in front of him. He still might be able to power his way through. Magic there to dunk it past the goal line. A little bit of awkwardness all around, but RCU come out on top.
Oh, that that was so much fun to watch. From the light flip reset to the box out that turned into a soft touch out in front. Dev kind of floundering, trying to read whatever the heck was going on, and it doesn't pan out for him. 1-1. RCU got creative there in tight quarters play as well, which is difficult to do. But Dev almost getting an answer back immediately. He has been a sharp shooter tonight, but that one saved away by the defense of RCU.
Yeah, I mean, these long strikes from Dev are absolutely menacing. Does get one shut down there by Magic. Skies gives it back to him for a shot. Jay picks up the save. But we've already seen, you know, we're halfway through this game. Dev has put up 7 shots. That is twice as much as the entire rest of the lobby combined. He is not afraid to shoot the ball. He's got the one for George Mason. I'm assuming he's looking for more.
Guy's looking for something, just to catch up to Dev, maybe. That's an absurd stat. And he will get a shot on, but George Mason will turn a save into a clear. Maybe more offense. That is a nice bump out in the corner. Magic is taken out, but GMU's good play, countered by another out of Rochester Christian. Going back and forth at the moment. Dev collecting in the corner. No, just stealing boost, allowing Titanium to shoot just a little bit off target. But either way, George Mason flipping the field after a quick counterattack heavy exchange. To add to their field domination stat.
Yeah, Magic trying to, again, get that offense going for the team in orange, but no boost. Skies off the sidewall, lobs it up. Jay, no boost to work with. Neither does Titanium. He's just forced to kind of lob that one out. Dev, the only player with some in the tank, will get possession here. Trying to play into the 50, snaps it past one, leaves it for Titanium on a silver platter. Dev, if he's not shooting, he's setting up his teammates for one.
He stunts Luca right there, forces him to use up the last drops of his boost, that little hesitation on the sideline, then chips it past the rest of the defense and just drives off into the sunset as Titanium polishes off the play. That was pretty from Dev. 60 seconds left now, and it puts George Mason out in front with, you know, the tail end of a closeout game to go.
Yeah, his offensive ability is really just, I feel no other word but lethal in this one. He is looking so dangerous every time he approaches the ball, every time he approaches the net. Rochester Christian have to be ready. Might have a play here. Jay able to escape Titanium on transition. Dunk skies towards the corner. Dev gonna try and play this one slow. Playing into the 50. Forces 2 to go. He's gonna be shut down by Magic, who also clears this one out. But with less than 30 seconds to go, George Mason more than happy to, you know, take some possession in their own side and just kill the clock a little bit.
They won't grab possession here. Jay dodges a bump, though, from Skies, and that is pretty big. That could have been space for Luca to generate more offense with. Instead, it's Magic on his lonesome, having to contest against 2 blue cars, but gets the ball away, forces a miss out of Titanium, but Jay has full control of this ball, and it should be a win for GMU. And they're just going to score on 0 seconds to ensure that that game ends with no shenanigans on 0 seconds. George Mason, the 8th seed, advances to the grand finals.
And I mean, Dev getting one for the road, well deserved. Just 9 total shots there in game number 5, which just seems absolutely ridiculous. But George Mason, they move on to Grants, either play Radford or Siena Heights, but a 4-1 win over Rochester Christian just seems absolutely crazy.
And I just realized something as well. It's insignificant when it comes to the actual substance of the series, but our 2 semifinals have 1 team from Michigan versus 1 team from Virginia, and we just eliminated one of the Michigan teams. So, 11, I see you in chat right now. You Siena Heights boys, better make sure you're on point, lest it be a full Virginia finale with Radford eyeing that 2nd grand finals spot. But we'll see what happens. Dronis, George Mason, I don't know if them disposing of RCU in 5 games was what either of us had drawn up.
I mean, I don't think anyone had them getting past Colorado first. Because Colorado, they've been looking extremely strong as of late. As you mentioned, qualifying for Summer Series, winning the CCS, but they take them down, and now they advance past RCU 4-1. I mean, they are looking dominant, and they're looking to do so in the grinds again.
Radford versus Siena Heights coming up in just a little bit to see who will meet George Mason in the grand finals. The Bepic in Final Form $60 Monday Night Lights tournament. As always, ! Final Form in Twitch chat if you want to get involved with their wonderful community. I forgot to mention it. I'm repping the jersey tonight as well. Beautiful stuff. You can't see it, but it's got the Atlanta skyline on at the top of it above Final Form. Pretty jersey. But break coming up in just a second. So get your snacks, get your drinks, get prepared for Radford versus Siena Heights coming up in a second. See you there.